episode of Know Your Type. I'm Jonny Labey and I'm currently sat with Ted Reilly. How do we know each other, Ted?
We know each other off EastEnders. We were in EastEnders together.
Ted is type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
How did I find that out?
I was carrying around my sort of pack with my blood testing kit and my injection, and you kind of... Yeah,
I mean, it's
it. No one else would carry that around and no one bat an eyelid.
Unless you get that thing where people look at you as if you're about to take heroin.
Yeah. That's when you're actually doing the old shooter.
Obviously, we're in a very, very much the same pond in terms of like managing our diabetes and our jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've gone back into doing theatre and things like that.
I've gone back in, so I left EastEnders last year and I've gone back into doing theatre. And it always is, and still is, like a concern for me of sort of having low blood sugar on stage. So obviously the dread. So those who don't know, the low blood sugar would be sort of falling below 4.
Yeah. Normal person's.
Yeah, normal person's is around between 4 and 7.
I use the term normal person.
Oh, I'm sorry. Person.
I'd say muggle.
Muggle. Yeah, muggle will work. So theirs is between 4 and 7, and we try and manage our diabetes to get to that level. But with with sort of when you're on stage, especially if it's physical, like what you were doing, for example, or certainly for the adrenaline, it can sometimes, for me, like make my blood sugar drop.
Yeah.
So I'm always cautious about going on stage sort of and having low blood sugar. So the last show I did, we had matinees at 2 o'clock, which is for me is quite early. So my call time was 12:50 to warm up, and that's when you want to be eating.
Yeah.
For diabetes management, to like be good at it, is for...
Is that to tell you to inject?
No, it's just it goes up every hour, but that's a good idea. Yeah. The key to good diabetes management, I think, is structure. I've always managed my diabetes better with good solid structure, and working in theatre it is a bit all over the place. You're working in the evenings, for example,
and then working on EastEnders, that structure's just sort of like
all sort of can be all over the place.
Do you think that Ben Mitchell secretly doesn't have a thing for guys?
Mm-hmm.
He subconsciously fancies diabetics.
Yeah, that's it. Both of us. I
remember having to do a scene with Matt D'Angelo, and there was a joke, because they'd made my character diabetic. They put in a scene of me, like my life was all going to pieces, and I was like, my diabetes is out the door, and then I was coming through the salon eating cakes. And I said to Matt, I was like, you're going to have to stop me before I eat the cake, because I'm not allowed to eat really properly. If we do loads of takes, I'm going to have to do it for continuity reasons. Yeah. And he made me wait until the last and the take they actually did was when he just allowed me to eat the cake. Do you use any fancy gadgets?
No.
There's a whole thing out there.
Yeah, well,
I don't either. Yeah. I'm still very much old school.
Yeah, I'm old school as well. There was maybe I considered getting a pump, but I never really liked that. It just seemed a bit of an effort.
Yeah, I mean they're great. Obviously, not if you want to try that sort of thing, or if you've got that sort of thing, please comment away on your own experiences. Okay, so one thing about an actor that I think it's just like common talk really is, we love a good pint.
Yes, especially in the theatre. I do find the theatre is such more of a social...
Very habitual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your routine.
And that's that thing is when you come off stage as well, I'm never ready to go home.
No, because you've got all of that adrenaline rush.
And you
What's your chosen poison? What's your go-to? First.
I'd say gin and tonic, probably. Gin and slimline.
Yes, gin and slimline. This is a very good point, because someone told me that gin and tonic is going to be your drink for life.
Yeah.
And I was like, amazing. I don't mind a good gin and tonic. And I was like, my blood sugar levels are through the roof from just drinking gin and tonic.
Oh, really?
Until someone told me that you have to get slimline, because tonic is laced.
Full of sugar. Yeah.
Tonic is full of. So if anyone tells you to drink gin and tonic,
slimline.
You've now been told.
Yeah, I've definitely found through trial and error that kind of drinking too much beer affects my diabetes in a negative way. Makes my blood sugar run quite high. I also
in general.
Yeah, and so I could maybe have one, but as a rule, I'd never want to sort of drink beer all night.
Oddly, when I was first diagnosed, I could drink whatever I wanted, and it didn't seem to affect my blood. And I was very, you know, thorough with it, and I checked my sugar levels, but and for some reason it didn't affect it.
Yeah.
And then I hit like 21, 22, and all of a sudden it just started. Yeah, weird that, isn't it?
That is. This isn't related. This is when I was working at a pub a few years ago.
Yeah.
And like I remember being I ended up being really low, and I ended up like going home, and my sister like called an ambulance because she couldn't get any like sense out of me. But at work, I was so like wide-eyed and kind of like that they thought I was like drunk or on drugs, and I hadn't told I told the previous management that I was diabetic.
Did they tell you?
But I hadn't well, like they were originally really annoyed with me, and I had to show them like my ambulance form the next day, saying this guy had come to my house to say like no, like I wasn't up to anything bad, because obviously, if you get too low, then you do get sort of wide-eyed and non-responsive and a bit kind of...
Yeah, well, people obviously have different things,
yes,
but
that was mine, when I reached like below sort of... I'm talking like quite low, like maybe just over 2.
Yeah. Have you ever had it where it says HI?
Yes. HI, yeah.
The first time...
Oh, I burst into tears. I was literally like... I just got diabetes, and I was really trying to manage that, trying to do all the right things, and I saw a high, and I was literally like, I had to call my mum. I was like crying.
I was going to say, the first time I saw it, I thought it was I thought it was like...
My machine's talking to me.
No, I thought it was like, hi. I was like, oh, it's kind of like a Tamagotchi. Yeah. Well, you know, you've got vodka.
Yeah.
Is alright, but that can spike because it's made of potatoes.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that.
Apparently, vodka can. I mean, we're gonna have to obviously do some scientific research, and I'm gonna list it here. But yeah, vodka apparently can spike your sugar levels. So stick on the gin.
Yeah, I think the gin's a safe one. I find if you stick to one drink, I think that always helps. If you helps like keep your levels.
Just don't do cocktails, really.
Cocktails are a no-no.
Even martini.
Really?
Because that's meant to be pure vodka, but they put, I want to say vermouth.
Vermouth is like really sweet wine.
Vermouth.
Like sickly sweet wine.
Is it wine?
I think so. Yeah, vermouth.
Ah, and it's laced.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit like. I'm pretty sure vermouth. Yeah, it's really sweet.
Vermouth.
Vermouth.
So, like, 12 years on, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you have any sort of, what were your adjustment periods like when you were first diagnosed?
Well, I think I was 15 when I was first diagnosed, and I think the first year was kind of sort of really good while I was still at school. Again, I had that structure of like being at school, getting up,
packed
eating.
lunch.
Yeah, it was more structured, and then over the next 2 years, I started college, so my hours were completely different, and you know, I was still like hormones and stuff. My body was changing quite a lot. I found that quite difficult because my body was changing and my lifestyle was changing so much, and being diabetic, I hadn't been diabetic for that long, so it wasn't like it was ingrained in me from sort of a young age. So I found that initial period. So I had a sort of bit of a honeymoon period, which they say a lot of people have from sort of 15 to 16, and then I'd say from like 16 to 21, like there was a few incidents where I wasn't managing it right, and I'd end up kind of ill. So that was for me the sort of tricky period, like my teens and early 20s.
Yeah. Well, I've ended up in hospital.
I've had that.
And when it happened to me the first time, it was like a shock. But for me, the thing was what I'd put everyone else through.
Yeah.
That saddened me. So when it happened the second time, I came to, and I went waking up when I'm surrounded by everyone, and it was that feeling of like, it's happened again, isn't it? You know, it's happened.
Yeah, certainly. Like I know my parents, my family, sort of slightly do, or definitely did worry about me more when I was that bit younger and kind of going out and stuff, purely because they felt I was slightly more vulnerable. And To a certain extent, yeah, but it's about just if you can be in control. And I think I wasn't in great control of my diabetes at that point. So yeah, but yeah, of course, you know, you feel bad for making people worry.
Thanks for coming in, dude.
Pleasure, thank you for having me.
Okay, so there we have it for this week. Please join me again next week for another episode of Know Your Type. Please share the video to your mum, your dad, your best mate, your cat. And share the video by any millennial means, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. My name is Jonny Labey, and I hope to see you at the next one. Cheers.